Welcome, welcome. I am Insurgent Rat, and we're going to play Aurora4x, which is an utterly bizarre strategy game, which I recently discovered. It's kind of, I think, best summarized as the 4x game in which you design the engines for your missiles. It's this tremendously complex and kind of opaque and difficult game with a hell of a lot of flavor behind it. You've got the depth of simulation is kind of Dwarf Fortress-esque, not in the way that it simulates things, but in that there's just always stuff behind the scenes. Like you have dozens of officers that you can award them medals. You design all these components in your ship. There's loads of technology. The way you deliver resources around systems, it's all just kind of bonkers. I've only just played a few hours of this game, and I think it's really, really, really cool. So I thought I would record my stumbling around. So that hopefully other people who think might see this and might find it either entertaining or inspire them to try their own game. There's a few Let's Plays from people that actually know what the hell they're doing. But yeah, I thought we'd try a kind of like let's learn this weird ass thing together. So this game is going to be called the Space Rats game, because we are obviously going to be space rats, and the year is going to start in 2020, which I think is the year of the rat. So my kind of headcanon for this is, we all die in a climate crisis, and Ratus, the noble brown rat, takes over. And rats being wonderful, peaceful creatures with incredible foresight, they do pretty well, and they get to space in the same year, which is sort of grand. Empire title will be the Grand Stash, I think. If you've never really hung out with rats, they like to stash things quite a lot. Everything they think is valuable, they'll tuck away for a rainy day. The stash, our species name is Space Rats, because that's how you justify anything in sci-fi, is you just chuck space in front of it. And maybe we'll make it Space Earth. Government type. I think this is all just flavor. Rats, they might be socialists. I think there's peaceful anarchy in here, which, that makes sense. Now, Empire theme. So this is like, I think, names for officer classes and ship names and so on. I don't quite know what to select. I tried animal, and it's all a bit weird. Like your officers are named after cats, which are dreadful creatures. Cats. Don't trust them, ever. We could choose... I mean, like if I choose any of these things, I'll just not be able to pronounce anything and not really understand anything. Australia's there, but then everything will just be named after random dead old guys and tyrants. Fantasy, maybe? Oh, hippie. That's pretty tempting. Is there anything in here that seems exciting? I don't really know, so I guess we'll stay with, well, if we're gonna go United Kingdom, we may as well go Australia. Since I'm pretty sure the naming will just be slightly more interesting for Australia. Commander theme. English, I suppose. Yeah, why not? We're going to do a conventional start, so I'm also going to be recording some Distant Worlds Universe, and conventional is kind of like pre-warp. Apparently it's sort of considered hard mode because you usually generate some opponents to begin with and you end up quite behind. I'm not going to generate any to begin with, I'm just going to have them generate as we explore, so I can learn at my own pace and play at my own pace. So I don't think it really matters, and I'm going to start with conventional just because my choices are going to be really limited. Like if I start with, a dozen freighters and all this high-tech stuff, I won't understand what I'm doing and I won't understand what each component does. I think we'll leave all this stuff as the default. 500 million rats. Well, these are space rats, so only 500,000 of the ratus became, ratus spaces or whatever. We'll just take this because they're useless anyway. I think you can do... you can kind of have like starts where there's a bunch of different factions sharing the Earth and you spend the first beginning of the game like nicking each other. We'll start with 5 research labs, maybe 10. Let's kind of speed it up a little. We might not be able to afford that. I hear that 5 or 6 is good just to make sure that you are connected to the rest of the galaxy. The wiki seems to say that. Starting tech, we'll leave that alone. We're going to start in the Sol system. We're going to leave these guys on. We won't turn these on. Apparently they're extremely dangerous. That doesn't sound like fun. Well, not the kind of fun that I want to have right now. If we just pop our head out of the Sol system and die, that won't be great. We're not going to generate any at the start. And just set that to 0 just in case. So non-player races are races like us that have our technology, and these are like kind of they're non-player races that aren't, or they're like NPC things that aren't races like us. They have their own mechanics. So the swarm, they I don't know, reproduce in space, whatever that means. Generate empires as NPRs. Yeah, sure. NPRs activate them, sure. No, we want any new races. No, we want new races to be trans-Newtonian. So we have something to do. This is the race generation chance, by the way. So every time there's like a planet which is habitable, you have, if it's a non-player race, there has a 10% chance that there'll be another race on that. And if it's me, there's a 30% chance. I don't know how common habitable planets are, really. What's that? No ruins, oxygen atmosphere with an actual stuff. Yeah, I think that should be relatively common. Like, obviously they're not going to spawn on asteroids or whatever. Overhauls sound fun. We're not going to activate that. Realistic commander. Oh yeah, so commanders can get promoted. You can give them medals that have like promotion value. I don't really understand the mechanics. I was just looking in menus and saw that. It seemed pretty cool. But I think this adds a sort of like a political skill, this bit here, that can kind of leave you with like only incompetent fleet admirals because they're just sort of slimy people that are good at making deals. Sounds kind of interesting, but maybe not what we're going to do while we struggle and learn. Train task forces to work together, sounds good. Real world, star systems, yeah, alright. Orbital motion for planets and moons, sounds great. Same system truce, alright. We are going to create this game. Oh, I should turn the background music on. I will do that in a moment. I think I have to close this. Sorry, I turned it off while I was just messing around a little. This you can download this this game. It's free, not in the beer sense, not in the freedom sense. It's written in Visual Basic, but there is a rewrite in C# coming soon, and I think March is supposed to be the deadline. Is that on? Yeah, I think the music's coming through. But it's sort of a pain in the ass to get to run. There's this program, Aurora4x, which is just kind of like a bundled... Oh, that might be a bit loud. A bundled tool for getting it all to run and running it in a kind of environment where it registers the DLLs that it needs and so on. Alright, Space Rats. Let's begin. So this is the game. Isn't it beautiful? This is the system view, which, if we look here, this is this tab. I'm going to be using hotkeys, I'll be using this a bit. So this is the Sol system. We've got a lot of asteroids, we've got some comets, so these have comet tails. So this one, Stefan Aterma, is leaving. I don't know how to check comet velocity. I'm sure there is a way, I just don't know how to do it. The interface for this game isn't fantastic. Wow, that music is a little bit too loud. One moment. Just gonna make that nice background level. Alright, what have we got? Neptune. Right, Pluto is a dwarf planet, so Pluto's orbit won't be marked unless I tick this box. And apparently there are loads of dwarf planets in our solar system. I am obviously out of date. Let's neaten this up a little. So we're not going to show asteroids that don't have minerals. That'll just clean things up a bit. We will keep the comments. Alright, I've just marked a few things so we can see things that we've surveyed and things that we found minerals on. So, how do we do anything? Well, we open up the economics tab. Here we have one colony with 500 million rats on it. This is where our people are working. This is planet suitability, which is like the amount of additional support they need to live there. Haven't really got to colonization, just read a bit on the wiki about it. Here we can see that we don't actually need that many people, or rat people, producing food, because the Earth is pretty well suited. Surface industries, I think, is things that they do on their own, or kind of need to support the population. I'm not really sure. And manufacturing, I believe, is the pool of rats that we can actually use to fuel any structures that we build, that the state builds. Yeah, we don't require any infrastructure because our planetary suitability is ideal. Not quite sure what administration level is. Yeah, so here's where we're working. So we've got 1 million rats working in our shipyard, some maintenance workers, construction workers, and we have a lot of available workers. I'm not entirely sure if, sorry. Let me just find, there is a tab. Here we go. It hasn't really populated, I guess, because we haven't taken a turn yet. But in here will be what the rats are producing on their own, and they'll try to trade this and sell this, and that's how we'll get money, this racial wealth. We tax that. I'm not sure if that's from this pool of unassigned workers or something else. We'll find out, surely, when we make horrible mistakes. They want protection, they don't have it, but apparently that's okay. Stability, thermal signature. Cool. Alright, so we started as a conventional empire. And the kind of lore of this game is that we have recently discovered, mining and maintenance, a whole bunch of these magical space elements called trans-Newtonian elements that allow you to do stuff ignoring, inertia and the light speed limit and so on. Newtonian physics, I guess. We have a really bad start, I think. A lot of this accessibility is really bad. That accessibility is you have like a mining rate, and you multiply it by the accessibility, and then you get that many minerals. So our mining rate, ground-based mines, these are conventional mines, old industry, 10 each. And so 250 times 1 is 250, but here we can see we're modifying it. This is like space steel. This is space fuel. This is really bad. That's kind of going to be a pain. It might not be a problem for a long time. Hopefully we can find some good source of it somewhere else in the solar system. Other than that, all I really know at this point is that corundum will be important because we're going to build automated mines. Or corundium. Isn't corundum just sapphire or something? Alright, we have a shipyard. This system is really neat. So slipways are where ships are assembled. They'll have a certain capacity, and you need to tool the shipyard to build a certain class of ships. It can also, if ships are quite similar, build those ships. So you can sort of have variants, and one shipyard can build them all. Retooling takes time, it costs money or resources, and increasing capacity is very, very expensive and takes quite a while. We're actually going to definitely want to do that. We're probably going to want to add a couple of 1,000 tons. So we're going to set that. And Glover and Khan steel. Probably some noble little rats. Shipyard tasks are ship assembly. You can do both of these things. We can't really build a particularly useful ship yet. Or can we? I'm not actually sure. First up, we want to research trans-Newtonian technology. So the starting tech for all trans-Newtonian technology. We can do other things, but this is what lets us get the good stuff. And our starting scientists are garbage. Biology and genetics is not something that we're going to do for quite a while. This specialization, they have a bonus and a max amount of labs that they can lead. This is based off some kind of rank that they have attached to them. We'll look at scientists in a minute. And the bonus is multiplied by 4 for anything in their specialty, so it's quite useful to have scientists that work inside, like in specialties that you're interested in researching. Power and propulsion is good to have, because that's where we're going to be researching engines and reactors and stuff, which is going to use a lot of our early game research. But it would be really, really nice to have somebody in construction and production. Anyway, allocated labs, we're going to allocate 10 to this, so create. Are you sure you want to create this research project? Yes, we do. So this is going to take 2 years to finish. All right, I can handle that. Is there anything else we need to do? So we would like to build sort of fancier mines and factories, but we can't. We could start building a military academy. It's pretty expensive. What's our production look like? Because that this is going to use, okay, not all that much. 240. Mining, we have 255 annual production. Oops. And if we build a military academy, we upgrade it. So this is what trains all the officers and scientists and stuff that we get. It's a good thing to upgrade. It will take, how much time? Build points. I think that's, so this is how many I get per year. And that's how many build points it would take. So it would take like 10 years. Let's just see if that's true. Okay, more or less. That would be pretty low research usage. We may as well get started. I think once we research trans-Newtonian tech, we're actually going to switch out of that and we're going to start doing other things, but the progress will remain and we're going to want to build this anyway. I mean, the alternate would just be stockpiling resources, but I don't think that that's going to be necessary. Is there anything else we need to do? Oh yeah, check out the event log. We're just going to set some default colors and we're going to show events down here. Oh, a new shipping line. That was Hill Shipping and Trading. I don't, where do we check these? Industrial production. Nope. Nope. Oh, here we can have a look at all our offices. Ah, that is something we should do. We need to assign a governor rat for Earth. So if we look at civilian administrators, we have a bunch of people. They have bonuses. So this guy, not particularly useful. Shipbuilding and factory production, wealth creation. Yeah, mining. So she might be really good. There is a tool over here to search. At this point, we can just look at everybody. It's quite easy. I think this is the like level which might have implications for managing sectors. This is pretty nice. The mining bonus and the population growth might be more useful than Lauren. Maybe. How important is pop growth? Probably less important than building stuff faster. So we are going to assign you Governor of Space Earth. So let's read a bit about Lauren Little. She's averse to risk. Well, that's all right. We can handle that. And she's quite young, actually. Wow, 21. Imagine being appointed to govern an entire planet at 21. Whoa, poor space rats. They're going to be in for some quite strange decrees. We could look at the galactic map, but there'll be nothing there. Given we haven't explored anything. Potential colonies, we haven't explored anything. These are our racial techs. Shipping line information, here we go. So Hill Shipping and Trading. So they have some wealth, but they're not going to do anything yet. Okay, good to know that that's where it is. All right, so the way you take turns, this is something to do with kind of the rate at which the game calculates things. The higher this is, the faster a turn will be calculated, I think. Auto just lets it decide how important the resolution of time is for a particular turn. And these are the steps that we can take. We're going to turn on auto turn, so we just keep taking turns until something interesting happens. And we will start taking 30-day turns. So we can see things, moving around. And here we go. Thorium shortage in fuel production for Space Earth. So these... right, we got a bonus because of the governor. Yeah. Here we can see fuel production. So we're converting thorium into fuel. We have quite a lot already, and we're not really mining much thorium. We don't need fuel for quite a while, so we'll just turn that off to avoid that that notification. Yeah, so the stockpile ran out because we don't make very much a year. All right, let's get that event log back. Whoops, not that. That one. And keep taking turns. So we got some new officers. Oh, we should, because there's all sorts of officers, and now that we have staff officers, maybe. There's a way to... There's some office that you need to assign, and I can't remember what it is. Leader type. Well, here we can see our scientists. Naval officers. Well, we'll turn on automated assignments. I feel like there's some kind of admiral office that needs to be assigned. Or maybe it's just the civilian one. No. Ah, right. Commander, Fleet Headquarters. Yeah, so we need to assign this. Who can do what? Fighter operation, logistics, or maybe not useful. I don't really know what I'm looking for, what would be useful at this point in time. So, you know what? You're the highest ranking rat we have, so welcome to your head office. Yeah, and so now all these other things have opened up, and we're just going to auto-assign them. People will give some aspect of their bonuses to the Empire depending on which slot they fill, like logistics gives the logistics bonus, and a bunch of other things. By having good, well-trained, like a large pool of well-trained officers, you can, give yourself quite considerable bonuses to doing things. And if you really want to, you can macromanage it. We're just going to have the game do it every couple of years. All right, let's keep going. We're going to see, some spam here as everybody gets assigned. And the game is just going, and here we go. We added 2,000 tons to our shipyard. I think that's fine. Oh, poor guy. I think our first few ships will probably be under 3,000 tons. So, yeah, that should be okay. Can we make an engine? Yeah, we don't have active sensors yet. Yeah, so we can make a conventional engine, and we might want to because we probably want to get started on exploring as soon as possible, but I think we need to research a scanner component first. Let's just have a look, see. So we want a new class, Canberra class. That's not a very fun name. We're going to rename you to the Whisker, the Whisker class. There is a survey vessel, geological survey vessel. There we go. This is just for classification for you. I don't think it actually controls what's available. I think what the ship is in reality is just controlled by its components. And yes, we don't have the sensor, so we can't design a ship yet. And there's not much point in designing an engine, but because I'm probably going to wrap this episode up in about 5 minutes, I'll just do this to give you a bit of a preview of the kind of insane ridiculousness of the game. So we have conventional engine technology. I think this is just kind of rockets, not using anything special. We have very few techs, like we can't really modify much, but we can modify the size. So a HS is a hull size. One hull size is 50 tons, I want to say. There's this classification here. This is kind of important for our early game. Engines of 25 hull size or greater with power 50%, minus 50% or lower are classified as commercial. So ships can be commercial or military. Military ships have this whole maintenance mechanic that, given our level of technology, will be a giant pain. So you can make kind of powerful, inefficient, dirty, amazing engines, but then you have to maintain them, and any ship that you chuck them on will be a military ship. Or you can make large, less efficient commercial ships, and I guess, I don't know, there's some company on it that's responsible for the maintenance, and you don't actually deal with it. So let's meet those requirements. We can't actually go lower than 50%, negative 50%. And we don't want to go too large. So we can make this modifies fuel consumption, and it's multiplicative with this. You can see here. You might go, oh, well, fuel, we want to use as little as possible for our scout ships, but this will make them heavy, and the project will be more expensive to research, I think. Maybe not. Not actually sure. It seems like the power scales with size, and the research and construction cost for this engine is quite cheap. But we don't want to make our slipways huge. So a 5 times 5 is okay. So a size 50 engine would be what? 2,500 tons, which would use almost all of our size budget, given that our slipway is only, how big is it? 3,000 tons. So we'll go a bit smaller, and we can have we can always chuck on multiples of this. So this is kind of like one of the choices that you have in the game, is you can make smaller engines that are less efficient, but you can sort of standardize. Like if a ship wants multiple engines, you can do that. It's just going to cost you more fuel. But you might want to do that because then you can fabricate parts in preparation for making a fleet. Like if you're waiting on a particular, laser gun or something to be researched, you can have your industry churning out the engines and the components getting ready. And so if you're going to build a bunch of different ships, it might be good, or missiles or whatever, to have kind of a standard engine that you just fit multiples to. The kind of thing that you can, pull your hair out designing spreadsheets, playing for efficiency or flavor in. Yeah, so what are the size in tons? Yeah, so this is nice and small. We might chuck 2 on, I don't know, but we're going to do it. And we're going to give it a name. So who makes this engine? Slater Fox Research Inc. That's cool. Yeah, we'll go with that. And this is a 2AP conventional commercial engine. Create. So that was made, and we can now research that. That'll show up in our research projects under power and propulsion, except all our labs are busy. But we might queue it with you and one. Oh, we'll do it later. All right, let's just keep going. 30 days at a time until something else interesting happens. Here we go. We completed Transnewtonian technology. So, what does that mean? What does that mean? It's tremendously exciting. We can do all sorts of cool stuff now. So look at this list. There's so much we can build. What the hell do we do? Well, first we pause this. We knock it down into the queue. There we go. And now we want to, I will silence those alerts for the next episode. Forgive my lack of foresight. Now we want to convert our conventional industry to Transnewtonian industry, which is a hell of a lot more productive. So conventional industry does, I think, sort of 10 of everything, including fuel. Maybe, don't quote me. These things will only do one particular thing, but they will do it much, much greater rate. I think 10 times the rate or something. So we have 250 conventional industry. Where is the summary of what we have built? I know it's here. Oh god, I'm being blind. Here we go, conventional industry. 250. So why don't we convert that into factories and mines? So convert civilian industry into construction factories. We're going to do 150 of our industry, and we're going to do 60. I think 100 and 150, that's a 60-40 split, right? 100 on 250 is, yes, I think so. Don't do maths while recording. You will invariably embarrass yourself. So convert, why won't it let me do this? Yeah, here we go. To a construction factory, yep. And to a mine. So the same thing for mines. If we look at our mining, it's pretty rubbish. It'll be a lot faster. Right now it's saying that if we do this, we'll have all these shortfalls, but that's kind of a lie because we're actually going to be increasing our mining capacity at the same time. So civilian industry to a mine, and we want to do 100 with 40. Create this project. Yeah, so they are ready, and I did get the split right. They're going to be finished apparently, what's that? 16 years into the future, but it'll happen way faster because as we do this, it'll continue to increase the production rate that we have, and hopefully the mines will keep pace with our mineral usage. And that, yeah, they both just cost 20 to build. Alrighty, I think I might sign off here for the first episode. So this is going to be the beginning of our foray as a trans-Newtonian empire. We're going to gear up our construction. We're going to create, in fact, we'll do this now, a research project for this geological survey sensor. And we're going to start surveying the solar system, looking for more of these fantastic elements that we have just discovered can do all sorts of remarkable things. So let's create this research project. We'll give it to the person with the biggest bonus, 10 labs. Boom. Yes. All right. So that should be finished. Oh, pretty soon. All right. So yeah, we're gonna stop here for now, and I will see you in the next episode as we spread our little whiskers all across our solar system and figure out what is going on.